Over the past 2 days, we witnessed on social media the extent of devastation in some parts of this country, particularly the provinces of Cagayan Valley, Isabela, Rizal, and the city of Marikina. We have seen the heartbreaking snippets of men, women, and children crying for help. The sea of chocolate floodwaters that submerge an entire province, and droplets of agonizing souls waiting to be rescued. Finally, before sunset of November 14, the devastated provinces of Cagayan Valley and Isabela were declared under state of calamity. President Rodrigo Duterte promised to send help and mobilize the military and other government agencies for food delivery, rescue operations, and evacuation. This after hashtags Nasaan ang Pangulo or Nasaan si Duterte started trending on Twitter and other social media platforms. Thanks to the power of social media, millions of Filipinos, including the international community, were made aware of the plight of the residents of Cagayan and Isabela. The entire forces of private sector were also mobilized to urge and send help to these victims of devastation. This may not be the right time to blame anyone or to blame Mother Nature, but I believe there's one thing we and government planners need to look at if we are to prevent the same crisis from happening again in the future. Is this crisis in Cagayan in Isabela natural or man-made? Or is it both? A close analysis of the epicenters of the flood crisis would give us one particular scenario to look at: the management or mismanagement of Magat Dam discharge and flood warning protocols. Magat Dam is under the control of both the Magat River Integrated Irrigation System and the National Irrigation Administration. Now let's take a closer look at the Magat Dam. This nearly 4-decade-old dam is on the Magat River, a major tributary of the Cagayan River. The Magat Dam has a total of 7 radial gates and 2 orifice gates. The number of gates will prove material in the succeeding discussions. On the Thursday of November 12, 3 dams in Luzon opened their gates to release water amid heavy rains from Typhoon Ulysses. At 9 in the morning of that same day, Binga Dam in Benguet had 6 gates open at 4 meters. Ambuclao Dam in Benguet had 8 gates open at 6 meters. Angat Dam in Bulacan had only 1 gate open at 0.5 meter. On the other hand, at 1 p.m. of that same day of November 12, Magat Dam had 7 gates open at 13 meters. Again, 7 gates open at 13 meter wide. We now know today, as of 9 p.m. of November 14 Manila time, that Magat Dam keeps 2 gates open with total opening of 4 meters. The question is, when did the dam operators decide to close the other gates, and was there any delay? Logic tells us that several factors such as opening of spillway gates, the number of gates to be opened, total opening meters, the extent to which they were left open, have something to do with the devastation in the provinces of Isabela and Cagayan. We understand the balance between the need to release flood water to prevent unexpected greater danger and the possible impact of calculated dam water discharge on the communities of said provinces. Some might argue that any delay in the release of dam water could result in greater damage. However, here are the Magat Dam protocols on dam discharge and flood warning operations. Before the coming of typhoon, Magat Dam administrators or operators have to coordinate with Pag-asa. During the typhoon, they still need to coordinate with Pag-asa concerning forecast and warning. 1,600 cubic meter per second inflow is considered start of flood. And before releasing flood water, they need to follow two very important protocols. The first protocol is issue and disseminate dam discharge warning to the public through warning stations, commercial radio stations, and TV networks, through other means like SMS, fax, or radio to agencies concerned. And the second protocol is regulation of outflow from the dam to mitigate flood damage to the downstream. Now the question is, were these two pertinent protocols followed? This needs to be investigated by proper agencies or the legislature. According to Cagayan Governor Manuel Mamba, there were enough warnings, but the volume of the water that descended into Cagayan was too much to handle.
Ang malungkot dito, hindi kaanong handa na, yung handang-handa na alam namin magkakaroon ng ganito. Naganda kami nung gabi, inspeksyon ko yung namin. Pero hindi namin akalain na sa dating yun, ganito kalaki yung daloy ng tubig na bumaba sa Cagayan River.
Ang tubig na bumaba sa Cagayan River galing sa Magat Dam na nasa bayan ng Ramon.
Nagre-release po yung Magat Dam. No? Magat Dam kasi is one of those causing yung kwan, worsening ng aming kwan. Nagre-release din po sila ngayon. Lahat din po yan papunta sa amin.
Nauna nang nagbabala ang mga otoridad na magdudulot ng baha ang pagpapakawala ng tubig sa Magat Dam. Naglikas ang mga LGU sa mga lugar na madalas bahain pero hindi nga inakalang higit pa roon ang aabutin. 6 na gates kasi ang binuksan sa dam kaya kada segundo mahigit 3,000 cubic meters o tubig ng 1.5 Olympic swimming pool ang pinakawalan.
But the question here is, was the warning proportionate to the danger they sought to avert? The issuance of warning is one thing, but the irresponsible, negligent discharge of too much flood water with 7 gates open at 13-meter total opening throughout a prolonged period of time is another. The Magat Dam authorities might have complied with the first protocol of dissemination of information to the public, but was the second protocol of constant regulation of outflow to mitigate damage met? Or was it actually met? We don't know. Again, is this devastation in the provinces of Cagayan and Isabela natural or man-made? Or is it both? Could this have been averted? With dozens of people died, injured, and missing, and with tens of billions of pesos in damages of public, private, and agricultural property, the government and its proper agencies need to investigate this tragedy, both its cause and effects. We just learned that Cagayan residents would like to sue Magat Dam operators for yearly flooding. What we know so far is that this has been going on for years. In 2001, for example, the National Irrigation Administration was blamed for massive floods that submerged wide areas in northern Isabela and Cagayan. In 2005, for example, as well, a priest vowed to sue Magat operators over floods. Again, this is a recurring nightmare for all the people living near the Magat Dam of Damnation in Cagayan and Isabela. Something has to be done. These people, yes, these people crying for help, as you've seen in the videos and pictures, they deserved justice.